The atmosphere at Windsor had all the ingredients of a perfect royal afternoon. Cameras flashed from beyond the gates, guests exchanged polite smiles, and every member of the royal family appeared committed to presenting a united front. Yet beneath the carefully choreographed elegance, whispers of growing tension had already begun circulating among palace staff. No one imagined that one brief encounter involving young Prince Louis would become the moment everyone remembered. As Catherine, Princess of Wales, greeted visitors with her signature warmth, Prince Louis displayed the playful personality that has made him one of the most talked-about young royals. He laughed, pointed excitedly toward a military band, and momentarily wandered a few steps ahead of his mother. Nearby, Queen Camilla noticed the energetic youngster. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but what followed left several guests exchanging uneasy glances. Camilla approached Louis with an expression that appeared far more serious than the cheerful mood surrounding the event. She quietly reminded him that royal occasions required proper behavior and encouraged him to return to his mother. The words themselves were polite. The tone, however, seemed noticeably firmer than many expected. Louis, still just a child, suddenly became quiet. His smile disappeared. Catherine noticed the change almost instantly. Like any attentive mother, she gently walked toward her son, knelt beside him, and asked whether everything was all right. Louis offered only a small nod before taking her hand. To the public, the exchange lasted mere seconds. Inside royal circles, however, those few moments became the center of endless speculation. Several palace aides reportedly noticed King Charles watching the interaction from across the garden. His expression changed immediately. The king has always understood how easily ordinary moments can become extraordinary headlines when cameras are nearby. He knew that perception often matters as much as reality. As guests continued mingling, Charles quietly excused himself from one conversation and moved toward Catherine and Camilla. Those closest to the family later described the atmosphere as suddenly tense. No raised voices. No dramatic confrontation. Just unmistakable discomfort. Charles first asked Louis whether he was enjoying the afternoon. The young prince managed a shy smile. Then the king's attention shifted toward the adults. Observers noticed Charles speaking carefully, choosing every word with remarkable precision. "It is important," he reportedly said, "that children feel supported during public duties." No names were mentioned. No blame was assigned. Yet, everyone present seemed to understand exactly why the comment had been made. Camilla acknowledged the remark with a composed smile. Catherine thanked the king before leading Louis toward another part of the garden where other children were participating in activities. For a brief moment, calm appeared restored. But inside the palace, conversations had only just begun. Royal aides understand that every interaction involving senior members of the family can eventually become tomorrow's newspaper headline. Some believe Charles had deliberately stepped in to prevent a minor misunderstanding from becoming something much larger. Others argued the king simply wanted to protect his grandson from unnecessary pressure. Either way, the message was unmistakable. Family came first, especially when children were involved. Throughout the remainder of the engagement, photographers noticed Charles spending noticeably more time with Prince Louis. The king laughed with him during demonstrations, pointed out displays, and even shared what appeared to be a private joke that quickly brought the youngster's smile back. Those images soon became some of the day's most widely shared photographs. Royal commentators later suggested that Charles was determined to show warmth and reassurance without creating additional attention around the earlier incident. Meanwhile, Catherine remained her usual composed self. Anyone watching from a distance would never have guessed that even a slightly awkward family moment had occurred. She continued greeting guests, speaking with veterans, chatting with children, and thanking volunteers exactly as expected. That calm professionalism has long been considered one of her greatest strengths. Instead of allowing emotion to dominate the day, she focused entirely on her responsibilities. Still, experienced royal watchers noticed subtle details. Whenever Louis wandered even a few steps away, Catherine gently kept him within sight. Whenever cameras turned toward the family, she made sure her children looked relaxed and comfortable. It was parenting under extraordinary public scrutiny. Inside palace offices later that afternoon, senior advisors reportedly reviewed photographs from the engagement. Not because anything scandalous had happened, rather because they understood how quickly individual frames can be interpreted without context. One photograph showed Louis looking unusually serious. Another captured Charles speaking with Camilla. A third displayed Catherine comforting her son. Separately, each image meant very little. Together, they invited countless interpretations. Communication staff immediately began emphasizing the event's charitable purpose rather than any family dynamics. They hoped positive coverage would outweigh inevitable speculation. Yet social media rarely follows official plans. Within hours, countless online discussions debated every expression, gesture, and glance captured by photographers. Some believed there had been genuine tension. Others insisted people were reading far too much into ordinary family interactions. As usual, the truth likely rested somewhere in the middle. What mattered most to Charles, according to fictional palace insiders in this story, was protecting the dignity of the monarchy while ensuring every member of the family, especially its youngest generation, felt secure. The king's reign has often been described as one focused on stability. Moments of uncertainty threaten that goal. For Charles, preserving unity requires constant balance between public expectations and private family relationships. As evening approached, the family gathered for one final group photograph. This time, Louis stood beside his grandfather. Charles placed a reassuring hand on the young prince's shoulder. Catherine smiled warmly. Camilla maintained a gracious expression. To the watching public, the picture represented a family standing together despite the pressures surrounding royal life. Whether the image reflected complete harmony or simply professional composure was impossible to know. But one thing remained certain. Every royal appearance tells two stories. The one visible through the camera lens, and the one unfolding quietly behind palace walls, where duty, family, tradition, and human emotion constantly compete for the final word. And according to whispers circulating long after guests had departed, the conversation between Charles and his advisors that evening would determine how future family appearances were managed, especially when the youngest royals took center stage. No official statement would be released. None was needed. Sometimes, the loudest royal messages are delivered not through speeches, but through careful actions that speak louder than words. As the palace lights dimmed and the final guests departed, one lesson lingered above every headline and every whispered conversation. The future of the monarchy would depend not only on tradition, but on the care shown to its youngest generation. Whatever private discussions followed behind closed doors, Charles understood that unity was the crown's greatest strength. Catherine remained steadfast. Louis ended the day smiling once more, and the family presented a composed face to the world. Yet the unanswered questions ensured that royal watchers would continue debating the day's events long after the cameras stopped rolling.